This is the February meeting of the Personnel Bargaining Committee, and I'll call us to order at 1:32. Certify the open meeting law requirements have been met. I do not think we have any amendments to the agenda, so whatever agenda you all have, it needs adopting. So is there a motion? Motion by Austin, second by Johnson, thank you, to approve the agenda as printed. Staff, do you see any reason to move anything around at all? Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda?
I have a question on that.
Sure.
If you're not going to get it done before the time I'm leaving, if you want to move the closed session up.
I'm sure we'll be done before 4 o'clock. Amy, do you see any reason why we shouldn't be?
Okay.
Okay, we'll be good then.
All right.
All in favor of approving the agenda as printed, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It is approved. We've had minutes from two meetings, the 21st and the special meeting on the 1st of February 1st. I'll entertain motion to
Move to approve.
and that's to approve both
To
sets of
to
minutes?
approve both.
Is there a second? Second by Austin. Any questions, corrections? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes as printed, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. They are approved as printed. You know, my phone just went beep, 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 and it's entirely possible that Jeannie is trying to get a hold of me, so. No, Jeannie is not trying to get a hold of me, because she just walked in.
Well, Jeannie. Here you go, Jeannie.
All right, we're moving in, we've just done the preliminaries, and now we're moving into item number 5. This is the Trempealeau County Employment Benefit Policies related to COVID, including remote worksite policy for discussion, possible action. I'll turn this over to Amy.
I don't have any update at this time, but if anybody has any questions on anything, I'm happy to answer. The last update was at the last meeting, we added on the list of authorized county COVID leave, to the list we added to take leave off of work to get vaccinated if an employee was choosing to do so. That's the latest update that was implemented since the last meeting. I don't have anything further to add. George, I know that you had asked about keeping remote work on the agenda. Unless anyone has any questions.
I think just to clarify, the remote work is at the approval of the department head, correct? And it has to be related to COVID-19 in some way.
Correct.
Okay.
What's that?
No, Human Services has a pilot program that started prior to COVID. The remote work, and they're hoping to continue that post. So it's not, just COVID related.
My understanding from the last meeting is that we were going to review all of those issues at the June meeting. And again, it's an attempt on my part to clarify for myself and for employees and the committees. Everybody is eligible who can be eligible for remote work, but there are some qualifications, namely it has to be approved by the director. And my assumption was that it had to be somehow COVID related at this time.
Yeah, maybe, but we do have a plan, and we do have it started way before COVID.
Yes.
Human Services was a pilot program that could be available to all departments that have employees that can work remotely or work from home. I mean, there are people, sometimes Human Services workers never enter this building in a day because they're doing home visits, they're in court, they're traveling, they're seeing kids in residential treatment, blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, that was our goal. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our goal was, if remote work could work for other employees, they could, look at the model that Human Services has adapted.
Can you respond?
So, yeah, Jeannie, you are correct. I mean, so it did start as a pilot program and just left it in perfect timing.
She heard me say the word human services.
So it started as a pilot program and then COVID hit and it was opened up to all of departments. Because of COVID. So, but yes, initially started as a pilot program in human services as a way to allow some flexibility and things like that.
And it's a well thought out plan. Deb spent a lot of time with her staff looking at how they could work remotely because it would be more efficient. It is more efficient for many people. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. Well, clearly, it is a discussion, and at the last meeting, we agreed that in June, we would revisit the policy. As per the minutes that we just approved. Is there any other discussion related to that? Seeing none, we have a Department of Land Management request for limited-term employees for discussion and possible action. And we have two guests whom we rarely see, if ever, at the Personnel Bargaining Committee meetings. Reed Lowley, yeah. And Mr. Anderson, Ben Anderson. So we have a pretty substantial packet here. Well, not a terribly substantial packet, but 2 pages. I guess, Reed, is it Reed or Ben? Who's going to do it here?
I can go first.
Okay, wow. Holy cow.
What was that loud?
No.
These fantastic new microphones.
It's these fantastic new microphones, yeah.
Yes, do we have an electronic copy of that right now? We don't.
Well, I have my laptop.
Yeah, and we all
Well,
have,
are they in the packet though, Amy, or is it?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Yes. If I could.
Do you need the job description too? No, okay.
So right now there are 2 LTE positions that help manage Petrick Park in the summertime. The first one's the park manager at $14 an hour, and that's 29 hours per week, and that's up to 7 months. And then there's the park's groundskeeper and custodian at $12 an hour, 29 hours per week, and that's up to 3 months. What I'm requesting is that we could increase the duration of these positions to 8 months. It would not change the budget at all, and it would be the responsibility of the person in my position to manage those hours and make sure that we don't go over budget, but use the employees' time when it's more needed. Like, for example, the reason I'm bringing this up is, for example, the park groundskeeper this past year started early May, and then at the 3-month time frame when that position was up, it was before Ashley for the Arts. Now, we didn't have Ashley for the Arts this year, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but that's a weekend that I would definitely need the help from those, limited term employees out there. So, and then that same employee actually called me up. They went away to college, and he called me up multiple times when he was home on weekends throughout September and October saying, I'm available to work if you need some work done. And there was plenty to do at the park, but we couldn't, I wasn't allowed to bring him out there. So I'm just requesting that the duration is extended to that time for these circumstances. Now, every employee is going to have a different, personal schedule and when they can work. But I talk with the employees throughout the growing season and, as they start and kind of say, what's your plan? What are your hours? How late in the year can you work? And then I can kind of adjust the hours from there. And for example, another example is the park manager this past season. He started in March and he worked up until the week of Christmas. So there's plenty of, but just like as the times a year where there's not as much to do out there, they might be only putting in 3 to 5 hours a week coming in, in late October just to clean the bathrooms one time, and that's it. There's no lawn mowing, there's no, camping going on or anything like that. But there was still money in the budget, and there were still things that needed to be done because the park was still open and operating. So that's what I'm requesting, is that I can at least gain more time in the duration of those 2 positions, preferably to 8 months. Did I explain that well enough, or do you need more?
I guess the clarifying question is, the total number of hours will not change, but they will potentially be because you say there's going to be no effect on the budget. I assume they're going to be stretched out over 8 months as opposed to, say, the 3 months.
That's correct. But it can, I'd say, I've only ran the park for 2 years, but I would say, that except for one employee that's been there the last 2 years, he has consistently put in 29 hours a week. But the other one, very, very rarely actually made 29 hours. So it's, it's like, oh, this week I can only work 14. I can come in on the weekend, but I need to be off Thursday through Saturday. It's so flexible that that's the difficult part. It's hard to have like a set amount of hours per week. I mean, Amy and I spoke on the phone, and we were saying if we actually did it by the week, it would go down to like 17 or 18 hours a week at these two wages and this length of time, but it's still not going to be that way. So, like, for example, let's say it's late March and we can do a prescribed burnout there. It'd be great to have these positions, if they're available, to come in and spend a day. And then, I could say, well, we're not going to really need a whole lot more work out of you until things start greening up and we need to mow the grass and that kind of thing. I know I'm giving specific examples, but every season is different with weather, and each individual that has these positions has a different personal schedule as well. Am I doing an okay job of explaining it? You seem confused.
For me, you're doing an okay job because we've already run this by our committee,
Right.
and it's just to not be able to have them there when needed because we're tied into that 3-month period doesn't always work for the park.
And it sounds like this is the issue, is the park groundskeeper position, because the other one's already up to 7 months.
By far, mostly the park groundskeeper is, I believe there was several $1,000s left over because they just didn't work the full 29 hours, but they weren't allowed to work past that middle of August timeframe.
Very
So
good.
they'll be keeping the same amount of hours now, but they'll be spread out over different,
Right.
instead of 3 months, you might use them over,
Exactly right. Same amount of hours, same budget.
seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah,
It would have been a disaster if we would have had Ashley in the arts and not have that person available to support the rest of the staff.
Just so we can discuss it, I'll make a motion, we approve this.
I'll
Second.
second.
okay, motion by Austin, second by Johnson.
Thank
The-
you.
Yes, now let's begin discussing.
I think we got it.
So, Amy, is this even necessary? Because we're not adding money, we're not adding hours to require that they move into a sort of a benefit thing. It sounds to me like,
To me, it should have just went to the PTAT committee. as
Yeah.
long as there's
Well,
no-
we did approve it in the P-TED,
So then it should be a done deal, I think.
right? Last m- we
You
did
appro-
approve
you
this.
approved it,
Yeah, we
yes.
approved this last month.
so Amy clearly wanted to bring it here, so why is this?
Initially, this was approved through the project initiation form, and this is going back to, I think, 2018 it was modified, but it was specifically approved, and it was approved by this committee for the 3 months and the 7-month duration at the wage that was established. So since this is just revising this project initiation that was voted on by this committee, I think that's why we brought it back. If it's not necessary, I guess I get that too, but.
Well,
I'd make a motion that we update the,
Okay.
well, we've
I'll
already
second.
got that motion
Oh, we
on the
already got the
floor.
motion.
So, would you like to change or amend your motion to
Yeah.
include the language about
in the job description.
amending the job description in the
And
project initiation?
I'll still second that
Actually,
amendment.
we're not amending the job description, we're just changing the time frame.
Right, thank you for
Spreading it out
clarification.
7 months rather than just 3 months.
It still is changing it from the 3 months to 7, so that's a
Okay,
change.
all
All right,
right.
we have a motion and a second, but before we vote, Ben Anderson is here, I'm assuming in support of Reed's request? Or something else?
This is some,
Well, this is-
yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say, I got the land management LT position here too.
Ah.
I do support Reed's endeavors, though.
Okay, thank you. In which case, unless someone needs more clarification, I don't see it. All in favor of approving the change in months for both park LTE positions, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed? We have agreed with the PTED committee and are happy to do it.
Thank you.
Reed. And next on the agenda is, what is? Be-
What's that? I got 2 extra copies
Number 6,
here.
Department of Land Management's request for limited term employees. No. Behavior health technician.
No, we got this one first.
This,
Yeah, we got our land management LTE, George.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is all under number 6. All right, got it.
Does everybody have a copy of the land management limited term employee
Yes.
job description? Okay. Sounds good. Okay, just a little bit of background on this. Typically, the Department of Land Management hires a summer LTE staff to help out with our field work, do some clerical work in the office and things like that. We wanted to make a few changes to the job description to kind of, I guess, target a little bit different clientele than what we have in the past as far as applicants go. So I'll just kind of go through each of the changes that are in yellow there on the job description that you guys have. So the first one being, reports to the Department of Land Management Director and a designated supervisor, which we discussed in our department, which would be Reed for the designated supervisor. We felt that'd be a good fit for him since he's already supervising LTE staff at the park. Second one, under the essential functions there, assist conservation staff in the collection of water samples and submission of water quality data. One of our staff is going to be off this summer on maternity leave, and this is a big part of her job, so we're hoping that this LTE staff can kind of help fill that void while she's off during the summertime for maternity leave. So we wanted to include that in there. We crossed out the zoning programs because this staff person will be primarily focused on conservation work. Then going down, we added in that designated supervisor under the the other duties assigned by land management director and designated supervisor. And so kind of getting into the point about the clientele we're trying to target here in the applicant pool, we changed the applicant required to be pursuing a degree in natural resources. We want to be targeting, college age kids that do have some base knowledge. That way it wouldn't be such a burden on existing full-time staff for training LTE position. We want to hopefully have somebody with a decent amount of base knowledge to come in, so it wouldn't be such a such a lengthy transition. Hopefully they'd be able to ease in to some of the duties that we're hoping them to do a little bit more smoothly. And then there's just a, word processing spreadsheets. We just changed that to Microsoft Office since that's what we mainly use. And then another change here that we have is the rate of pay. We were historically paying LTE staff $9 per hour. We're hoping to increase that to $12 per hour. In years past, we've had a surplus in our LTE salary budget, so we're not requesting any increase in the allocated budget for the LTE staff. We have the funds in order to be able to cover them for, I believe, 13 weeks at $12 an hour, so it'd still give them a full summer of work at $12 an hour, so we're not really requesting an increase there. And then we wanted to say up to 4 months and up to 40 hours per week, kind of going to some of Reed's points, just depending on the LTE schedule, if they have other part-time work and just what they're able to make work in their schedule. We wanted a little bit more flexibility there, so.
I'll make a motion to approve for discussion purposes.
I'll second.
Questions?
These are, if I'm correct, these are positions that already exist. We're just making an adjustment.
That's correct, yep.
I'll glance at Amy, but mostly I'll look at you guys. What are the possibility of filling these positions with college students or people who are pursuing a degree in natural resources?
I think pretty good. I mean, especially with the pay bump to $12 an hour. I know we talked a little bit in ELU. I know when I was in school, financial aid can be hard to come by, and You know, I know for myself, when I was in college, you know, the work that I did in the summer was, you know, paying for school. And so, you know, having that little bump in pay might encourage people, instead of maybe going back to work their construction job like I did during the summertime, a lot of times it might encourage them to go more towards gaining that experience. Even though they might be taking a little bit more of a pay cut, it may not necessarily hurt quite as bad as going down to, you know, $9 an hour, where if you're working construction, you're probably making 16 to 18 an hour, you know. And, you know, just from a student financial standpoint, I think we'll be targeting more of those folks that want to get experience in the field, people that are, you know, interested in entering the natural resources field after school, and people that have decent base knowledge too, that will be coming in, instead of, you know, maybe getting more recent high school graduates or something, you know, something like that, so.
Any other questions for Ben? I guess Reed, you're good with the supervisory?
I am, yes.
Okay. Oh, they're gonna be out at the park every day. I just know it.
Gotta get a suntan somewhere, you know.
All right.
Water samples
Pardon?
and collecting
Water samples. This has been a push in the department now to see what effect our practices, our conservation practices, have on the water quality. And the only way to do that is to sample for phosphorus levels and other things, quality of water and so forth. So this is pretty critical. This is critical. All right, if there are no other, Amy, yes.
So it sounds like what's being described sounds like it's an internship, or is this truly a need for some additional help in the department, I guess, just to define or just to clarify? I guess the other question I had too is, I know that you've got it up to, is it 4 months? Not to exceed 4 months?
Yes.
Like up to 40 hours a week?
Yeah.
You can go more than that if you're looking to, again, I don't want you to get in the same situation of the last situation where you were limited by 3 months or 7 months. If you have somebody that is available, you know, at just a limited basis, or are you looking for somebody that's truly available 40 hours a week?
I guess, you know, we were just kind of shooting for flexibility at the end of the day. I guess, you know, the big void that we're going to have this summer is going to be, you know, the water testing program, and, you know, just, you know, having, you know, an extra person for site visits and things like that. And I guess, you know, I would see it as an internship, you know, since it would be, you know, we'd just be looking at the summer, you know, for this person to be here.
Help me out here. I mean, there's a difference between a limited term employee and an internship.
Well, it's kind of one and the same, but, I mean, how it's being described is that it's, you know, to be pursuing a degree in natural resources. I mean, that to me sounds like it's
Intern.
an intern. Otherwise, if you're okay, if somebody already had the related degree, if you're just looking for somebody to have some extra help. But if you're looking to, you know, and an internship is great because it helps, it's a win-win for both.
Does UW Eau Claire or Stevens Point have a required internship for students in their conservation program?
Reed can speak to Stevens Point, but I know I graduated from UW River Falls, and we do. Yeah, we certainly did, yep.
It would be great, you know, because social work has, I mean, that's every social work student has to do a field placement someplace.
Yep.
So you guys should look at trying to recruit students that need an internship that could maybe be here all year. I know it's kind of hard commuting back and forth from River Falls for some students, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of going off on a different direction, but I mean, that might be something you want to think about.
Right, we were planning on trying to recruit from, obviously, the larger natural
Okay.
resources
Okay.
universities or schools, so.
Yeah.
Most of them
But
have
some-
job boards that, you know,
Okay.
they're like
Right.
summer internship job boards, or, you know, summer LTE job boards, and so we're kind of hoping to, between both Reed and I's positions here to post in those appropriate places. That way we're kind of targeting the applicant pool that we really want to see coming in,
Okay.
you know.
So are the internships through conservation programs paid internships?
Some are, some aren't.
Okay.
Usually the really cool ones are not.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like social work, some are paid, and sometimes
Right.
paid internships get blurry for students.
Yeah.
Because then the employer treats them as an employee and not a student, so.
Right.
Sure.
Okay,
And we were wanting to target, that was the main reason, one of the main reasons for having it be somebody going into the natural resources field is because we feel, well, odds are if they're putting time and energy towards getting a degree in that field, they're gonna care more about and
Right.
probably do a better job, especially when it comes to that water quality testing
Right.
side of things. It's good to have accurate data and somebody that's just not just out there trying to pass the time, which
Right.
I'm not saying somebody that's not going for a degree wouldn't be,
Right,
but
right. No, I think it's a really good idea. I'm glad you're kind of moving in that direction
Mm-hmm.
to support those students. Because field placements or internships are hard to find these days.
they are.
I know I can speak for both Reed and myself where, it's, we're certainly welcoming to students who do, I know the schools usually have some sort of requirements, as far as, as far as like, I think the advisor has to come and,
Right.
do like visits and stuff like that to the job. I mean, we're certainly open to, working with
Yeah.
any of our applicants. If they do want to utilize this employment as an internship, we'll certainly work
idea.
with them on it.
Explore
so.
that.
Yeah,
As an internship, they get some college credits for it.
Oh, yeah.
They do, yeah.
That's it, yes.
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, you get to pay to go to work, which was always
Really?
something I thought was kind of backwards, but
it's good. I mean, it's good because
Yeah.
I think you guys should go down that road too.
Yeah.
Support our students that need placements.
for sure.
Okay.
I feel like Mr. Cold Water today. You guys are obviously enthused about this and the possibilities, but the way you were talking now, one must remember that it's HR who posts the applications, and you certainly can work with Amy in terms of throwing out ideas as to where it should be posted, but you guys aren't looking for anybody. HR officially is.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And
It's a little different when it's LTE positions, right? No? Yeah, you have a little more flexibility.
well, no, they can't go out and find somebody.
No, right, but they can make it available to the universities, to conservation programs,
Oh, yeah.
I post social work positions from counties all over the place at the universities.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're shooting for, is just to, because like I said, most of these colleges have like a job board where,
Yeah.
for specific fields of study that they have, and we'd like to, at least post them there, because it's
I
just.
think
it-
Amy and Krista would be fine with that,
Yeah.
but the applications aren't going to be coming to you guys, they're going to be coming
Oh,
to
yeah,
them.
absolutely.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to clarify.
Mr.
I mean,
Cold Water.
I appreciate your enthusiasm and you just are ready to go on this, but we got to go through HR to
Right.
get the
Sounds like
the
fun.
applications.
Idea LTE in your-
Absolutely.
So if we had a couple of job boards that we wanted to put this position out there, I assume Amy and Krista would come to you guys first, get all the details of that worked out, and then
They would
would you
post it.
post it onto those job
Yeah.
boards, then I would assume?
So once we've got the and I think we can work together to upgrade the job description to be how you want. But the wage, increasing it from $9 to $12 is something that this committee obviously has to approve. But any other additions or changes to the job description that are minor, we can handle that. Once that's established, we'll put together a job posting. And then we've got a whole list of standard places where we advertise. And one of those includes area colleges and tech colleges, job boards.
Okay.
And so we put those all out to everywhere they need to go, the local paper and anywhere else. And then we'll send it to you if you have any other publications or in-house things that you want to advertise with, or send them to colleagues or in other entities. Once we have that established, feel free to pass it on and help recruit in any way that you can.
Perfect.
But, we do keep track of all of the advertising that we do. And I am a little concerned that, this is a very specific position. Just offhand, requiring them to be pursuing a natural resources degree and not any related degree, I think might be limiting us a little bit, but we can work on that.
Sure.
Because I know typically in the past, we haven't got a whole lot of interest, but again, maybe the wage bump will help too.
Sure.
Okay.
You could add geography students. or-
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe we should, keep in that or related field in there as well. That way we can
Yeah.
kind of be, that way, if we get an applicant that's maybe going to school for forestry, they're not gonna be discouraged by looking
Right.
at this.
That's a good point. I think you should keep the thing required to to be pursuing a degree, but keep in the, in natural
related.
resources or other related environmental fields.
Sure.
Because there's all kinds of environmental studies.
Absolutely.
sorts of positions.
Oh, it's very wide,
Yeah.
wide
Yeah.
range of
Very broad.
degrees. and-
Maybe
Environmental
I'll apply.
education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
why
right,
not?
it sounds like that sort of stuff you guys can work on. Basically, what we need to do is to approve the changes to the budget, so to speak, the $9 to $12 an hour.
Not, it doesn't really affect the budget.
Well, I know, their budget, but,
Right.
but we have to approve the wage bump. So, I also heard that there's a possibility of more flexibility with the number of months per calendar year, that sort of thing, so. All right, there's been a motion and a second to approve the changes to the job description for the limited term employee in the Department of Land Management. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on the back page. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Good job.
job.
Good job. Reed, I
Sounds like
totally
good.
understood what you were saying. I got a different hat here, so I have to ask different questions. So,
I don't see him wearing a hat.
it's a figure of speech. I get it. All right.
Wearing flip-flops today. It's so warm out.
You know, I saw things melting on
Mm-hmm.
the street. That was great. Now, number 7, Human Services position on behavioral health technician, new, for discussion, possible action.
Should I just make a motion to approve so we can discuss?
Yes, we did. It was discussion.
We're on number 7 now.
Yeah.
It is not a new position.
That's when I had the whole conversation about how great Human Services was, and then Deb walked in.
All right, there it is, right in front of us. Jeannie, did you say you wanted to make a motion right away?
Well, yeah, because it's not a new position, so we can discuss it. So I'd make a motion to approve this change. It's not a new position, it's just a change.
Well, our agenda describes a new position.
It's not new.
Not a new position,
It's
okay.
we're demoting a social worker.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the job description for the behavioral health, mental health technician. Is there a second? Okay, go ahead.
As Jeannie indicated, it is not a new position. I'd like that in the minutes because it isn't posted properly. We are not adding any bodies. We have a social work position that was created in 2017 that we have not filled yet. We've kept it on the books. We've looked at different ways of how many people were enrolling, how could we use that, and we didn't want to hire until we knew the right thing. But what we have found is that having this behavioral health technician would be a much better use of our resources. Our social worker, particularly in the CSP program for individuals with chronic and persistent mental illness, that the social workers end up doing a lot of running to get groceries, to take them their medications, to go to their house to make sure they take their medication, to take them to doctor's appointments, a lot of things like that that you don't have to have a social work degree to be able to do. And so that's really what we need, is somebody that can do those kinds of things. This position was in the budget at a grade 9 as a social worker. Our proposal is to move it to a 12, so it'd be on the same level as the program aides in the children and families unit, because it would be a similar, they do supervised visits, so it'd be a similar type of function just for behavioral health.
I can do it. I'm closer.
What do you feel about that? 9 to 12, I forget, the lower the number, the higher the, got a good memory, but it's
The
short.
lower the number, the higher the pay.
Okay,
The higher the number, the lower the pay.
okay.
Please, continue.
So the position is budgeted as a social worker. We would, again, look to move this to, down to a a grade 12 is our request. It was taken to the Human Services Board. We will be able to have some billable time for this, just as we had budgeted for the social worker. We'll get a little less billable time, but it's a little less expensive, so it will have no budget impact in our budget. So we don't usually come to you and ask you to downgrade a position, but we are on this one because it makes the most sense for our department.
It's a good idea and a good plan. Good use of a human body to help support the program.
Any questions? Amy's got one.
So Deb, and this was written as a new position, basically because it's not on here. We don't have an established pay grade for the position. So it's not adding another body like you said, but it would be needing to be established on the pay grade. So I guess I looked at it from that point. So just to explain that, and normally when a position is added to the pay scale, there's a position questionnaire filled out, there's an HR analysis completed. And I get that it's probably similar to the program aide position, but again, I haven't done an analysis on that position at all to determine that. So I just wanted to throw that out there that I haven't done any sort of analysis with this position.
I wish I'd had the opportunity. So,
It's on. There you go.
so is this like basically a reclass and I can't bring it back till June then? Is that really the issue?
No, I wouldn't say,
I feel bad we've wasted these folks' time. I wish I'd known that in advance, because then I could have figured that out and taken care of that, or at least put it on a future agenda.
Could
I
still-
don't want to wait until June because
You
this
could
is.
still do it, I think you could still do it after the fact, because we know the intent here, we could vote on it
Right.
now
I
anyway.
mean, it's been an empty position for 3 years, 4 years now almost.
That was
So-
my next question. Why has it been empty for 4 years?
When we took over the CSP program in 2017, we had about 50 people enrolled. The work had been done by Mayo prior to that. Mayo wanted out of that business, so we had to take it over. At that point, then, we rolled over 50 people. And what we were able to do is we worked with Mayo as we were rolling them over, how many people should be in the CSP program versus the CCS program, which is a little less intensive. As of today, we only have about 15 people in the program. And so as we've reduced the numbers in that program, we've put them in the CCS program. When we created it in 17, we thought we needed that. We've reduced the numbers. We don't need them in that program. And so that's the reason we haven't filled it either. So we were trying to be responsible on how we used our resources.
Okay.
What we can do, I think, is that the caveat to supporting the resolution would be until, approve the position description, but wait on the salary stuff until appropriate step, or not step, but
I thought we had established a salary, 12, stage 12.
well, this was Deb's suggestion based on a
Oh.
similarity to
Oh, okay.
another position, and Amy's comment was that she had not been able to actually do an analysis as to where exactly on the pay grade it should be.
What is the position called for the, that it's similar to?
Program aid, in the Children and Families Unit, it's called program aid. In all the other counties, this kind of work is called mental health tech. That's why it's called a different type of title. It's not called a program aid, but it
Right.
serves it's a support position to the social workers in the same way
Understand.
that program aid is.
Could we call it behavioral health program aid? And then
Well-
you don't have to
Well, I think Amy is saying that she still wants to do an analysis of it, right?
yeah, typically that's the process, but again, this committee decides what course of action you want to take, but
We want to make it easy as possible on it.
I would think.
If that's if we can just plug it in the deal there, that would fine with me.
I'm just not able to provide any sort of input without having conducted an analysis, so, just so you're aware of that.
but we can approve the position.
The committee can obviously do what they want.
Yeah, I would like to, because there's a big whole need for serving our clients with mental health issues, especially now, because everybody's going bonkers with COVID. Kids,
Yeah.
adults, me even, so we need to get the help out there to people as soon as possible.
I notice your hair is turning purple, so.
I know. It's
You
like-
should probably. But you did already make the motion.
I did.
So basically all we need is the vote.
Yep.
Okay, we'll leave the language intact. We'll assume there'll be someplace on, why can I never remember the word? Level 12, that isn't it? It's, pardon? Grade 12, thank you.
Grade 12.
Grade
step-
12 will be appropriate.
Grade step.
Grade step, grade step. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye. I think I heard Ron go aye.
I did.
Okay.
I'm still a little, we're approving this position, but we did that in 2017, so why are we approving it again?
Well, it's changing from
We're-
a
we're
social
appro-
worker.
Well, then we should be approving the changes,
Yeah, well, we are
That's what we are.
approving
That's what
the
we're doing.
changes.
That's what we're
yes.
doing. We're actually stepping down.
not
from
approving
what
the
it was.
position.
Right, we're approving a change.
Thank you, Ron.
A
So,
step down, couple steps down.
all opposed? Hearing none, the changes to the job description for the behavioral health, mental health technician have been approved. The wage has not been set, but that will be done in the future. Oh, I know, I figured, I was trying.
Just to give you a little tip, maybe the wage could be exactly the same as the program aide in family services, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we change it to program aid, but it's still, it would be children and families that have a different job description.
Right,
so
the job description would be the same, but the pay could be in the same range.
I can't say anything about the pay, because that's a decision made by HR. Amy's right about that.
Okay. All right, you figure it out. I was just giving you a little tip. Because we already have a basis for family aid, aides that support children and families. And this is just similar, although they'll be doing different things, but with a different group of people. Not that they wouldn't even be dealing with those families, because those families are dealing with mental health issues as well, so.
Is it approved for us to recruit at a grade 12, I'm sorry?
Yes.
Or-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can move forward with it
Yep.
as of today.
There are steps on grade 12.
Okay.
You figure out where that,
I'll still do that form, so you can look at that. If you feel it really isn't the 12, we can talk about it. I don't want to circumvent systems.
all right. Let's move on.
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Deb.
Resolution for
Could
assign that
working
reauthorization
to me.
of self-insured workman's comp.
You can make it early
Um,
tomorrow, 'cause yours is.
This is,
Department
we were
head.
talking about workman's comp this morning at exec finance, and it
think I've
turns
ever
out this
seen
has
Deb wear
nothing to do
flats.
with what we were talking about, which I am grateful for.
Is this mine?
Yes, Ron, you were saying?
No, I couldn't hear you because
Because Jeannie was
Oh.
blabbing. Sorry.
Okay, so we're moving to number 8, resolution for reauthorization. This sounds just pretty much form, something we have to do every year.
Yeah, the resolution is required every 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, for the DWE, the Department of Workforce Development. The county is self-insured for their employee workers' compensation. And then there's also, every year, there's a packet of information. And John, I'll have to get with you for some signatures on some agreements and things like that. But again, this is standard for the DWD and what they require for their standards of workers' compensation. So I've got a whole packet of information that I've been gathering from our side and the healthcare center, again, because we cover it for both the healthcare center employees as well. And that goes along with this resolution.
Inasmuch as this is a resolution, I'm going to read it before entertaining a motion. So the resolution is called Reauthorization of Self-Insured Workers' Compensation. Whereas Trempealeau County is a political subdivision of the state of Wisconsin, and whereas the Wisconsin Workers' Compensation Act provides that employers covered by the act either insure their liability with workers' compensation insurance carriers authorized to do business in Wisconsin, or to be exempted, self-insured, from the insuring liability with the carrier and thereby assuming the responsibility for its own workers' compensation risk and payment. And whereas the state and its political subdivisions may self-insure workers' compensation without a special order from the Department of Workforce Development if they agree to report faithfully all compensable injuries and agree to comply with the act and rules of the department. And whereas every 3 years, each self-insured political subdivision must provide the Department of Workforce Development Workers' Compensation Division with a resolution passed by the governing body that states its intent and agreement to self-insure. And whereas the Trempealeau County Personnel and Bargaining Committee at its February 18th, 2021 meeting approved the continuation of the self-insured workers' compensation program in compliance with Wisconsin Administrative Code, Department of Workforce Development 80.60, parent 3, and now it be resolved that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors, 1, provide for the continuation of a self-insured workers' compensation program that is currently in effect, and 2, authorize Trempealeau County Clerk to forward certified copies of this resolution to the Workers' Compensation Division, Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development, introduced by Personnel Bargaining Committee. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
Make that motion. Second. I'll
Okay,
second.
Johnson and Assen. Just to remind all of us who already know, but for the people at home, who is our provider at this point?
We are.
Oh, I mean, we're self-insured, but we work with,
We work with Willis, Watson. I know David Kruger usually comes in and gives a report to this committee for our excess workers' compensation. Then our third-party administrator is Minuteman HR of Wisconsin.
okay.
And then our loss control is also through Willis, but we also have, there's a lot of people involved.
In other words, all the things we're supposed to be doing, we're doing, including the,
It always goes to the nurse field.
We did this, I don't know if it was 2010 or 2012, when we, 2018 is when we first, no,
Oh,
first went to self,
yeah, self-insured, yeah.
yeah, I think it was like 2010 or 12, somewhere in there. That's when we
10.
started.
I think it was 10.
Could be. Oh, okay.
All right.
Anyway, and it's been working great.
It's working
because
fabulously.
it saved us a ton of money on workman's comp, so.
Yep.
We have a motion and a second for this resolution. So all in favor of approving this and sending it on to the county board, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It is approved and will appear on the agenda for next Monday's county board meeting, right? Correct? Oh, look at that.
We'll have an amended agenda for the county board.
Next on our agenda is resolution for compensation study. This also was dealt with at exec finance this morning. And again, because it's a resolution, you're going to have to fill in the blanks for me when I get to those, okay, Amy? Because I forgot the numbers, basically. So, 2021 Compensation Study Approval, Budget and Revision Resolution, be it resolved. Whereas Trempealeau County uses a base compensation administrative guide that is administered by the Human Resources Director with Personnel Bargaining Committee oversight to establish compensation parameters for equitable wages for county employees and to attract and retain qualified employees to Trempealeau County. And whereas the compensation guide is outdated since the last compensation study was conducted 8 years ago, and the county is overdue for a full market analysis of wages. And whereas, according to industry standards, a full review of market data for county positions should be conducted at least once every 3 to 5 years. And whereas it is important for the county to provide competitive wages to its employees in order to attract and retain qualified employees in Trempealeau County, and whereas the Human Resources Department has obtained 2 estimates from qualified professionals who could perform the compensation study and recommends now, we're going to discuss this and either agree or disagree with the Executive Finance Committee from this morning. So what we filled in this morning was Carlson and Dittman to perform the study at the cost of not more than $50,000. And whereas the cost of this study was not included in the county's 2021 budget, Now be it resolved that the County Board of Supervisors approved Carlson and Dittman to conduct a compensation study for Trempealeau County positions, and that $50,000 be transferred from the 2021 contingency fund to the 2021 Human Resources budget to fund the project. So that's the resolution. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion and a second.
Can we discuss it?
Yes, we are going to discuss it.
All I want to know is why what was the reason for choosing this particular agency out of the two we met with?
Amy, do you want to take that one too?
At the February 1st presentation, I know that it was asked of me what my recommendation was, and at that time I was leaning towards Carlson and Dittman. And I know that it's a much higher price tag associated with it, but I think they do a much more in-depth, comprehensive review, and plus they're a known entity. This company is always at our annual conferences. They're very well known and established, have very high regard in the HR public sector arena, serves on our national board, those kind of things. Very high quality product that I think that we would get from there, where McGrath was simply unknown entity. Again, whether the motivating factor was the budget or, the quality of the product was not really what I wasn't really sure what direction the county board wanted to go with this. So those were the two options. Since the meeting on February 1st, I have reached some additional feedback that kind of reinforced my recommendation.
Okay.
I did reach out, there was another area HR manager that had recently done a poll also looking to do a compensation study. And of our Wisconsin public, again, this is public sector HR, of the 26 responses that this particular manager received, 18 of them recommended Carlson and Dittman, and then McGrath had 5 recommendations. So, again, that was that area director's input, and then also we have a department head here in the county that had followed up with me after the presentation and said that at his last job, he had experience with McGrath. They had done a compensation study at the previous employer that he was at, and said it was not a good experience. It was a very disjointed, uneven process and lacked some input and things like that. So again,
Okay.
that was the input I'd
Okay.
since received.
I respect your judgment.
Okay, so at this point, the resolution will indicate that it'll be introduced by exec finance and personnel bargaining when the final resolution is written. Amy and Paul are working on that. So in a sense, what we're doing now is agreeing with exec finance committee. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any
We
other
can sign it
discussion?
tonight at we can actually sign it. Oh, you got it? Yeah, you got it all right. You got it done?
You do? Wow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, let's vote then. All in favor of approving Carlson Dittman and the $50,000 cap for the compensation study, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, that is approved. I guess we'll have something to sign. There will be some work with this committee, and I expect exec finance as well, to flesh out the parameters of the study, like Amy said, what it is that,
So change that to
2, yes.
Consider Carlson Dittman and then to 50,000.
Okay, thank you. And John and I get to sign it twice. Next on the agenda is the Human Resources Department update, and who's responsible for that? We did get a very thorough evaluation of the Martin Luther King Day training, as well as the employee turnover and recruitment status.
Sure, so we will start with the turnover report. I do have one update to this report. As of yesterday, we will have a total of 4 filled positions. As of this year, we actually did just fill the CSP position yesterday, the social worker CSP, so up to 4. Had interviews today for the 2 jailer positions, so hopefully moving on those ones, those are approved. Other than that, we've got kind of a lot going on with recruitment right now, but hopefully filling more positions as the weeks go on.
All right. Did you mention the planning zoning specialist?
Oh, yes, those interviews are next week, I
Next
believe.
week, right.
As far as events go, yes, we had, all of our results were received back from the MLK Training Day. Did they receive those?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So overall, I would say a very favorable response we received back for our MLK Training Day. People liked the virtual training. Obviously, there's also going to be those people out there that would prefer to meet in person. That's kind of what the whole point of the MLK Training Day is to get everyone together and collaborating. So hopefully, next year we can go back to in person. Otherwise, we had some really great speakers this year. And then employees ended the day out with some department training. Is there any questions on MLK training?
Apparently, was it Tim who gave the IT update, or was it, apparently, he's a rock star when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Well, it's actually,
All of his staff kind of had a.
Oh, they all
all
did?
played a piece of
they
it.
all had a piece of it.
Yeah.
Can't even think of her name. She did the majority, showing how to. so
Renee, is it? Yeah.
Can't even think of her name. But
Kathy was kind of
Kathy Arms
yeah.
was showing how you move around on the
Yeah.
computer, do this, and I said, cool, this is, and I was just doing it from my desk, so I thought it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
Just one more.
Yes.
So that training, for anyone that is listening, that training is available out on SharePoint. So it
Oh.
has been recorded and can be, go ahead and for anybody that may have missed it that day, it is available if they'd like to go ahead and view that information.
So now all I have to do is figure out how to get to SharePoint.
Have you used a new computer?
I've got my new computer, yes. Yes. I'm checking email every other day. Just,
Every other?
pardon?
Every other?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was thinking once a
I
week,
have
but then I
100
upped it
of
to
them.
every other day, so.
I just
Is
have.
that a generational thing? Call me if you need me. I mean, right there at the other end of my flip phone. Anyway,
Still
well,
using
well,
that? Is your phone still a crank?
no, it's not a crank.
He
It's
has a
a
flip
dial, just
phone.
like everybody else's, you know.
Do you, anybody else in here besides me remember the crank?
I do.
I was
I do.
too
Yeah.
long and short.
I remember party lines.
Yeah.
I had a
we-
party line. Come on.
And we were the last one on the line, so if you wanted to call anywhere, you had to tell people to get off the line, or it wasn't enough power to go through.
Okay.
All right, so was there something else, Krista?
Just two other updates for events. So actually, today we held a virtual sessions, so to speak, for our employees for Wisconsin, or not Wisconsin, excuse me, nationwide deferred compensation. So employees were able to set up meetings with our agent there, Eric Glinski, to talk about retirement if they were interested in that, and we're setting up a plan through nationwide. So we held that today for employees. And actually next week, Wednesday, the 24th, we are hosting a webinar for all employees regarding the Wisconsin retirement system. So this presentation will be tailored towards just Trempealeau County employees. So there won't be any other employees throughout the state or counties allowed in on this webinar. It's just for us. So it took us a few years to finally get ETF for employee trust funds to agree to this, but it will be virtual. But very
Why
excited
did they
to
hesitate?
hold.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Apparently, it wasn't something that they've ever done in the past, but now I think with having the virtual capability, it's something that they're going to try and do more of. So
right.
that will be next week.
Good.
We have a lot of people that could move into retirement, so.
Yes.
You need to know how to do it.
Yes, and that will be recorded as well. So if there's someone out there listening that won't be able to attend, we will get those recordings out to all employees after the fact. Otherwise, that's all we have for events. I'll let Amy talk about budget update.
My update is that I have no update. So we're closing out the books for 2020 and going through that process, and that should be done by the end of the month. Everything preliminary looks good, and then we're just kind of plugging away with 2021.
You had said at the last meeting that our insurance costs, rates are pretty much within our budgeted or projection, right?
Yes, I know I did the work comp allocations, and those, again, we allocate for the healthcare center as well, and so those have been sent out so they can start, and also for highway, so they also contribute towards those premiums, and the same thing for property and liability insurance. That one's a little bit more complicated, and we'll have I'll have more information when it comes closer to the budget time as far as those allocations. But we have our estimates, and we're in the ballpark from what we received from the actual, well, they're still estimates at this point, but what we had estimated back in the budget process, and then with the renewal process, it comes after the fact, we're in the ballpark.
I just want to throw this out there. I know I've met with you since the meeting, but I forgot to mention the discussion about the workman's comp related to the construction project. What's being offered has nothing to do with what our self-insured is. I think you got that before you left the meeting, but unless you want to be involved as the county owner representative, I don't think HR will have anything to do with that. Okay, I assume you just called Barb and on her way down. So we're moving along pretty well, Ron. I think we're going to get you out of here. Do we have, yes, we do have the position descriptions here. Should we just wait till Barb there she is now. Find a chair and push the button and all the mics work.
Actually, you don't even need to push a button. It's like it knows you're talking.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
It does?
Yeah.
I don't think mine does. That's one doing it, you gotta push the button on this one. Oh, there it went. It did.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not me, although I can turn off number 7. Who's number 7? Oh, John, I'll just turn him. Oh, he just turned himself off. Okay, push your button there, Barb, and tell us what's going on. All right. Oh, just once. There we go.
Okay,
It works very well, too.
Introduce yourself to to the 5 people in the world who don't know who you are.
there's that many? Do you guys mind if I take off my mask
Go ahead.
so I can be
Go
heard
ahead.
better? I think I'm 6 feet from everybody. Hi, my name is Barb Barzak, and I'm the Director Health Officer for the Trempealeau County Health Department. What I'm here to talk about today is a merger between the Buffalo County WIC program and the Trempealeau County WIC programs.
Women, infants, and children.
Correct. This is a project that has been growing and developing and evolving over the last couple of years. We've been doing a lot of work together with Buffalo County, and we have been handling the time with MOUs by billing each other back and forth for the services that we are giving to the county that we're not. So when we're doing stuff for Buffalo County, we're sending Buffalo County a bill. When they're doing stuff for us, they're sending us a bill. I can go into a lot of more detail, but this is a program that is an opportunity to set ourselves up as leaders in the WIC program. The state is encouraging smaller WIC programs to unite into one program. This helps streamline a lot of the administrative work that we go into it. What has happened is our WIC director has been doing a lot of the administration stuff for Buffalo County, and they've been doing a lot of the just plain old nutrition stuff for us. Right now, they don't have anybody in their WIC program. Anybody providing services. They're being handled by us here in Trempealeau County at the moment. Right now, WIC is virtual at the moment, and we expect it to stay virtual at least through March, and the last I heard, it could be, May or June. A lot of it depends upon what's happening with COVID. Okay, so I'll just read you a few things out of the paperwork. Unfortunately, Kayla can't be here. She has another commitment, so I'm going to try to read you some of her notes. The Trempealeau County WIC program currently operates with 4 clinic locations held in Trempealeau County. The permanent staff includes a full-time WIC director, and a 60% WIC technician, which we are in the process of trying to replace at this point in time. Additionally, Buffalo County WIC Director Nutritionalist was contracted to assist with 4 to 5 of the 8 to 10 clinics that Trempealeau County does every month. Previously, contracted dietitians filled this role, but it was difficult to maintain training because of the turnover. WIC, there's a lot of new rules, there's a lot of very involved trainings that they have to do. What we are doing right now, we have a contracted dietitian who is not local, who is helping with the WIC clinics. The WIC program in Buffalo County has 2 clinic locations in Buffalo County. And at the time this was done, they had a full-time WIC director and nutritionist. They don't have that person anymore. By increasing, WIC grant is dependent upon the number of participants in the program. At this time, all of the efforts that we have with the staff that we have are going through actually doing the program as opposed to being able to do any outreach. There are a lot of people out there that could benefit from the WIC program, but may not know about it or may not have been outreached to. So it's something that we really want to do. One of the advantages that we see is that we would be able to increase our caseload. Second advantage was that there's less administrative burden because by joining the 2 WIC programs, there's only one set of administrative paperwork that needs to be presented to the state rather than 2 separate ones, which we are doing now. We are expecting and being able to have a full-time WIC nutritionist, that the turnover will be better and that we won't have the constant changes in training. There'll be fewer mistakes and we won't be in hot water as often because we did something that we didn't know we were supposed to do. We'll be able to keep up on the training. So staff retention, because we'll have more clinic coverage, less burnout, and we'll have better coverage for when somebody wants to do something like take a day off or go on vacation. I know these days that's a radical thought, but yeah, it does happen. And again, because of the trend that state is pushing towards regionalization, we would be considered one of the leaders by working through and doing something. You know, honestly, we're formalizing something that we're already doing. What we were going to be saving by this is a lot of the billing of each back and forth between the 2 counties and the check writing back and forth between the 2 counties as we provide services for each other. It's my understanding in talking to Kayla, who has crunched all the numbers, that if the 2 counties join, Trempealeau County would be the fiscal agent, and we get the grant money for both Trempealeau and Buffalo County. The figures that I have were last year's figures, and I know that they have changed slightly. The expectation is the combined WIC grants will cover the WIC expenses of the combined programs at this time. The agreement is if at some point the grants do not cover the expenses in the WIC program, that the expenses would be divided proportionally based upon the number of clients we have from each county. So let's say our program is a lot larger. So let's say 70% of the, I'm making up numbers here just so you guys know that. 70% of the clients would be Trempealeau County's, 30% would be Buffalo County's. Then the overage we would be paying 70% of, and they would be paying 30% of out of tax levy. But at this point in time, due to the increased efficiencies, we do not expect to be requiring any tax levy for the WIC program with this merger. Okay. So we have, we have a memorandum of understanding, that would be proposal of going forward as the, agreement between, Trempealeau and, Buffalo counties. Rick has seen it, and, he made a couple of changes about it, but overall, he has approved it. The Board of Health has approved it. And Buffalo County has a resolution which they are supporting to merge the two programs also between Buffalo County and Trempealeau County. This would involve Trempealeau County hiring a nutritionist.
And that would be the position description called project nutritionist?
Correct. Okay? So I have here a resolution that was passed by the Board of Health earlier this week. And I don't know if you guys have a copy of it. Should I read it?
No, we got it.
You got it.
We've had it.
It's the third one in the packet. There's three different ones.
Okay, I'll give you a chance to look at it then.
Yeah.
Barb,
Yes.
can I ask you what WALHDAB salary, what is that acronym?
WALDAB is Wisconsin Association of Local Boards of Health and
Okay,
Health
okay,
Departments.
okay, thanks. I just wasn't,
They're a regional group. I'll put this back
yep,
on since I'm
okay.
not talking
Once
to the
once you
microphone.
said WALDAB, then it kind of stuck in my head.
Okay.
You're gonna have to read it for me, I'm afraid I don't have to.
Sure, I'll give it to you.
Okay.
I already read it.
Okay, I said I
It's
can
like
give
4
you,
pages.
Now, wait a minute, she's talking about a resolution as opposed to a job description,
Oh,
right?
I have a,
oh, you have the resolution?
You have the resolution?
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, I don't
Okay.
think we, any of us got the rest of
Oh, I
No.
thought you
Okay.
were talking about that you wanted her to read the job description.
No, 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 no.
Okay. Should I go ahead and read the resolution then?
Sure.
It doesn't have a number on the top, but it says the merger of WIC programs in Trempealeau and Buffalo counties. Whereas the state of Wisconsin is strongly encouraging counties to form regional consortiums to administer the Women, Infant, and Children, WIC, programs as a way to reduce administrative time spent managing the program and to allow maximum resources to be used for program benefits and outreach. And whereas the WIC programs in Trempealeau and Buffalo counties have been sharing staff and program responsibilities for the last 2 years through memorandums of understanding, MOUs, billing each other for staff time. Recently, Buffalo County lost their program dietitian/nutritionist, and the responsibilities are now being covered by Trempealeau County staff through the previous MOUs. Administration requirements are being executed separately for each county, doubling the administration time required for the merged, that would be required for the merged county program. And whereas merging the two WIC programs will save time and expenses for invoicing/payments, as Trempealeau County will be the fiscal manager of the two programs and their related grants, and all program staff will be employed by Trempealeau County. And whereas Buffalo County Department of Health and Human Services voted on December 1st, 2020, to support the merger and have verbally agreed to the roles and responsibilities shown in the merger MOU. And whereas the merger of the two programs will increase administrative efficiency and increase resources for client counseling, services, and community outreach. And whereas WIC participation has been declining and the grant funding is allocated based on the number of clients served by the program, and the merger will increase the number of clients and increase time allotment for recruitment of new clients. And whereas Trempealeau County will be recognized as a regional leader in the WIC program, and Whereas no additional county levy is required at this time. If levy is required due to a shortfall of grant funds in the future, the cost will be shared by both counties in proportion to the home county of the WIC recipient. Now be it resolved that the Trempealeau County WIC program will merge with the Buffalo County WIC program as shown in the MOU for merger. Trempealeau County will be the administrator for the combined program.
Affirming the merger, and then at some point, we're going to need to talk about the positions, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so at
If
this.
if you approve this, I will be asking for approval for the nutritionist.
Is there a motion to approve the merger?
I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Nutter and Austin, okay. Any other discussion, any other questions? All right.
I
Ron?
actually have a question, whether it's for the first part or the second part, but does Buffalo County have a nutritionist?
Not at this time.
Okay, it seems like if the one we're hiring is gonna do the work for both counties, is there any part that they're going to pay for part of that, the percentage that they're using?
There would be, we are getting their grant.
Yeah, but
It would be included in the grant funds.
does that grant cover the cost
Yes.
from both of the counties on what the nutritionist
Yes,
is gonna
it
be?
would. It would, I've been told that it will cover all the expenses of the program, which would include all staffing.
I just was checking on this because if we're getting our own money and we're getting their money, but we're the only one that has a nutritionist, it seems like,
The nutrition is covering both counties, and where it's being covered is by their grant, which we are getting.
okay, are there other costs that that grant has to cover also?
Well, there'll be supplies. They'll be contributing to the director's time. There'll be any rent that's at the clinics. We have quite a few satellite clinics out there for that. Supplies, outreach, the cost of that. So with the two of them together are going to be covering the cost of all the programs for both Buffalo and Trempealeau County.
Okay, as long as their grant money is gonna be enough to cover all of that,
Yeah.
I guess that's the only question I
That's what I'm
have.
being told, and if at some point in the future it does not, it will be split proportionally.
It just seems fair to me that both counties should share in the cost of that nutritionist,
Yep,
since it's working for both counties.
yep.
All right. Any other questions?
It's kind of like a mini version of the economic support big regional program, where we just don't have our own workers, we are in a 17-county consortium.
But
This
it-
is a 2-county consortium.
Yep, and in this particular case, Trempealeau County is in control of the money and the
Mhm.
staff.
And that's a good position to be in, because the consortium's like that, we have the supervisor here in our
Okay.
department through the consortium, so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it makes sense to me.
So all in favor of approving the merger of the WIC programs in Buffalo and Trempealeau County, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It is approved. So that'll be sent on to the county board, and I
I
assume.
have the,
Oh, you have someplace for us to sign?
Yep.
Wonderful. Now,
There'll be a lot of things added
My
to our
apologies,
board
you're gonna have
meeting.
to add a agenda item. I
So-
don't think it's on the county board agenda.
It
so-
is not.
So we have
None
to-
of the things that we signed today are on the agenda for
So-
Monday.
it was my understanding when we talked to Paul a couple of weeks ago that he was adding this
Okay.
to
be sure
the
to,
agenda.
be sure to double check that, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go right up there and make sure, because
so
there's a couple of things that need to
You've
be added.
you've already covered the need for a project nutritionist.
That's correct.
Do you want to describe, we have a public health nutrition coordinator job description from 4 years ago.
Okay,
And then we have the 2 new ones. So basically, we're also going to be changing up or creating a position of WIC project director.
There was a question at the Board of Health about the proper procedure of doing it that way versus just changing a job description, and it was not passed by the program director was not passed by the Board of Health this week. They want to revisit it next month. But the nutritionist, the nutritionist was passed,
Okay. So we're not going to deal at this point with the project director.
just the nutritionist. And what I'm asking you for is to approve a job description and the ability to advertise and hire the person. It would be in grade 8, according to our normal schedule on step increases on wages.
Is there anything that you need to look at,
Thank you.
Amy, or you already done all this?
Yeah, so we've already, there's, the position description questionnaire, like anytime we establish a new position on our wage scale, like we had talked about. Barb has already filled these out,
Okay.
and I've done a preliminary analysis
Okay.
of where it should be placed. There are some, I guess, some concerns, but for the most part, yeah, that process has been completed. And I didn't make copies of this. I apologize if anybody wants it. It's here if you want to look
I
at it.
just wanted to make sure you were all
Okay.
in line here.
Okay, and you are, you know, the minimum, maximum are based on a WALDAB survey. I suspect you'll be finding something in our wage scale that fits that.
Grade 8 in our wage scale with the 2021 with the 1.25% aging. Step 0 is 2440. Step 1 is 2524. Step 2 is 2608. Step 3 is 2690. And the midpoint, step 4, is 2773. So I would expect that we would be hiring in that range.
Okay. All right, if that's, okay, that's all cool. So we're being asked to approve a new job description, a new position description.
Correct. A new position, its description, and the ability to advertise and fill that position.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the job description and the new position?
I'd make a motion to do so.
Second.
So, okay, Nutter and Johnson. Any other questions, discussion? All right, all in favor, oh, wait. I
That's
saw-
okay, I can wait.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. This position has been approved, and I assume this is as far as it goes, correct? You have money in your budget for this, so it doesn't need to go to exec finance?
That's correct. It's included in the WIC budget.
Okay, yes, the funding will come from WIC, so you,
And grant money, correct?
right.
Yeah, the WIC grant money.
So this one will be able to, you'll be able to advertise for this. And then after discussion on the director position, you'll come back and talk to us.
We'll come back and have another conversation on it.
Okay. Thank you, Barb. Good to see you.
Very well prepared, thank you.
Yeah.
It was easy to decide.
We do have one item in closed session with Barb, and I don't know if Tom and Al, I know you've been waiting a while, but can we have Barb go first, and I know her time.
I could come back
Are
if you
you
want.
sure?
Yes.
Otherwise, okay, so do.
Okay, so Barb's going to be here for a closed session as well?
Yep.
Okay, can we give you a call then when
Yes,
we
you
do that?
can.
Okay.
Thank you, Barb.
Can we hey, TV studio, we're going to go into closed session here. Can we take about 5 minutes to shut down the TV and, no, we have, let's, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session for Wisconsin statute 19.85, parentheses 1, parentheses C, to update the committee on and consider employment, promotion, compensation, and performance evaluation data regarding county personnel issues.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right.
Anyone here that
To
can-
go into closed session, Nutter,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Austin.
Yeah.
Brandt, yes. We'll take 5 minutes to clear the room and turn off the cameras and